Cause this world's not blurry. From comics to movies, he's got it all. He's an Outpost nerd living in a geeky world with his lightsaber shining. He's a Star Wars swerve through galaxies and adventures. He'll take you there, take you there. He's an Outpost nerd, no one can compare. Nerd power. Yeah, he's the king of nerds, catching that flare.
Welcome, my nerd geeks and dweebs, to another transmission from the Outpost Nerd. I am the nerd of the Outpost, and today we're going to finish up the undercover video released by James O'Keefe at O'Keefe Media of a Disney VP actually admitting to their discriminatory hiring practices. Just to get a little recap, this is Michael Giordano. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Don't care if I am. He's a senior vice president and team leader at 20th Television, the Walt Disney Company. And yesterday he spoke about a little bit about how if you're white, you'll be passed over. Or if you even look a certain color, you won't get hired for jobs. It's illegal. It's disgusting. And it seems that it's looked over. It seems that just because it's Disney, it's the mouse. They're allowed to get away with this. Jacob, what's up? Thanks for being here. So let's get into the story. I'm a little bit before where we ended yesterday, but let me bring that up. Let's see. Let's hear what the guy's got to say.
Iger, even as a chief diversity officer, now up until recently, that was Latondra Newton, who played a big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
See, that sexuality, gender in general, sexuality does not belong in this form of entertainment. It is in your face. It is right there. I don't, for lack of a better word, brainwashing kids. So let's continue.
Because I forgot the lady's name. She's the head of the.
Oh, I know you're talking about the head of the
yeah. But is that like her deciding?
She oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's really broad. I would say there are other people in HR who are also focused on it. I would say a relatively low.
So I spoke yesterday. I've had my disdain for HR. I understand the purpose of HR was supposed to be for employees to bring up their problems, their issues. But now it's this attack arm of a lot of companies. I've spoke yesterday on my experience with HR and how I went to HR with a problem, and the very next day I was let go. So let's. Didn't mean to do that.
Large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be gay, and a lot of
Just might happen to.
I mean, like, just like if you say whatever, I don't know.
Okay, so what if they're gay? So what? Why does that need to be a hiring requirement? Why does that? Is that the end all be all of a person's job requirements. That doesn't make sense to me.
Whatever 10 or 15% of the population is women, I would guess they 30 to 35% of our top writers, you know, gay. And so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
And in an odd twist,
Okay, and we have seen the ramifications of them leaning into that. They create these characters where their whole identity is around their sexuality. And they'll even turn established characters gay, which to me, in that regard, don't retcon a character like that. Be smart enough, be creative enough to create characters like that. Don't take characters people already love and change them like that. It doesn't I don't get it. I don't like it. I think it's lazy writing. It's creators just taking a small aspect of a person and expanding it to the point where the person, it's only that. It's only one. Their whole identity, the whole identity is wrapped around that little bit of information.
you have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week. But now let's meet Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney Senior Vice President of Business Affairs.
Buddy, Giordano has actually deleted this LinkedIn. You can't find it now.
I do like business affairs, so like negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Nice. That's really cool.
Like on the creative side, so a lot of it is, like knowing like the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and producers and directors.
See, all this he's saying now makes sense to me. That's part that he's describing his job, working with the unions and the studios, trying to get the agreements and trying to make deals. That's great. That makes sense to me. I see we have a couple of lurkers in here. Who we got in here? I see we got a few viewers. Who's in here with me? Come on, don't be shy. Say something. I dare you to say something.
Try to get to a place where we can close a deal with them, help the production to budget, and so much of my job has just been to negotiate with. And then other people are doing kind of the contracts. So
all this making sense.
Yeah, what's the negotiating like?
Like sitting down and trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want?
Oh wow.
Strategize that. Everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show. Things like that, all of the negotiations.
Again, all this is what he should be doing. This makes sense to me. I have done this kind of thing in college, the producing, the casting of shows that I did when I was in college. This makes sense. It's when they get into the personal stuff, the sexuality, the skin color, the ethnicity. That's where they lose me.
Yeah. One, well, actually, two of our brave undercover journalists and American Swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. Aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination.
Oh, these ladies, I should say, were brave to do that, to meet him on Hinge like this. to actually be able to stomach the BS he was spewing. They deserve a medal. They deserve a round of applause. They deserve a medal for this.
Nation against white men. You'll see later on in this report, quite entertaining. Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long have you been on like dating?
Not very long.
Have you been going out?
Not a lot.
Hey, Evelyn. Oh, that's a shocker, isn't it? He hasn't been on a lot of dates on this. Yeah. Color me surprised. Hey, Evelyn, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here.
You know what's funny? No. Let's dig right into Disney's blatant practices of discrimination. If you're wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's like so front and center. It's like great because that's the focus. Like we have so many shows where we're casting and we're like, yeah, we're not even going to see certain people for it.
So I understand that a little bit in the world of entertainment, that you have to take into consideration someone's skin color for a role. But it doesn't need to be everything. I worked on a show. It was my first musical I worked on when I was in college, was Rent. And when it came to casting Mimi, they casted a young lady who she wasn't that dark skinned. And people actually said something about it. There's no place in the script that I can remember them ever dictating her skin color or race. That, of course, this has been 7 or 8 years ago now that I worked on that. But unless the script specifically states woman of African American descent or man of Chinese descent, or it shouldn't matter when it comes to casting what skin color a person is.
Yeah. So is it intentional that they want, like, they only look for diverse candidates for different roles?
Yeah. I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society and big. But
who are they to say what's good for society or not? They're out in fucking left wing California. They probably haven't had a service job or a job outside the studio in years. Who the hell are they to say what is good for the rest of the country? I'm sick and tired of California and New York thinking they know it all. That they're the only two states. They're the only two areas of the country that matter. I am sick and tired of people in New York thinking the world ends when they cross the bridge out of Manhattan, or when you leave Los Angeles County, the world ends. I'm tired of people thinking that, and I'm tired of these people in those areas preaching to us like this.
Also a belief that, like, we're going to make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people, and it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, and so diversity helps with that.
Wrong. Disney has lost so much. Their stock has become one of the worst publicly traded stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. He is so wrong in that regard. And James will go into a little more detail about this in a few moments, I believe.
Diversity helps with financial incentive.
So it's not about social change. It's not about social change, it's about how much change you can put in someone's pocket. That's the change they're looking for, the dollar signs, not the social changes. And how these people can think in their positions it's a good idea to go on dates with women who probably wouldn't look twice at them is insane, because most likely it'll be you're being recorded, dumbass.
So is it like, do you think it's more so on that side, or do you think like any good prices get put to use, or
regardless. I think it feels regardless, but I think that there are like even conservative people who may not lean into it can easily make the argument that like we make more money when we have a wider variety of people and diversity.
yeah?
There's a real focus on every show.
Oops. I don't think it's the diversity he's thinking of. There's two types of diversity that I really think that society focuses on. It's either diversity of race, of identity, or diversity of thought. Those are to me, I think, the two diversities that he's talking about here. He's talking about diversity of identity. And when he says the right, I think more the right is diversity of thought, diversity of opinions. Now, I'm not saying that everyone on either side is like this. No, there are stupid extremists on every side that will shut down people who look different than them. Not saying that, I'm speaking from my personal experience. When you have diversity of thought, it allows you to dip into a bigger pool of ideas. And to me, that's the best, most fun way to learn. It's when you're able to be in a group like that and have these people whose lives have shared, their experiences have shaped them in such a way that's so different than yours. That's why I love listening and talking to Shelly at Talking Trash and Truths. Her life experience has been so full and rich and interesting and different than mine. She's a city girl. I'm a country boy, or country, as she likes to tell me. I like hearing about how life is in the city and how it's different than us. And I think she's supposed to be moving to Pennsylvania within a few months. And I think it's going to be so good for her. So good. It's such a culture shock too. Being able to see trees and grass. I think that'll do her a wonder of good. And I cannot wait for her to experience that. I mean, I remember going to New York when I was young and thinking it was so different. It was so almost claustrophobic drive on the bus, driving down the streets, and our bus driver pulling off these amazing maneuvers with inches to spare between him and other vehicles was just mind-boggling. And then going up on high skyscrapers that were it felt like you were on top of the world. I never experienced that before or since. So the ideas, you're looking into someone's world. One of my favorite miniseries back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they did miniseries. They did The Odyssey. And I loved it because I loved the final scene where Odysseus, as the old man in disguise that was given to him by Athena, he shoots the arrow through the axe handles, and when it hits the bullseye, his disguise falls, and they realize, oh, it's Odysseus. Odysseus is back, and he sentences all the suitors to death. And they ask him, the main suitor asks him, "What is my crime?" He said, "You're guilty of trying to destroy my world that I built with these two hands." Everyone's life is a different world. And when you're able to peek into someone else's world, to experience to be a part of their world. I sound like a Disney princess. Part of their world. Yeah. stupid. ADD kicked in, but it lets you grow so much by looking at someone else's experience. So that's not the diversity he's talking about here. He's talking a diversity that if you don't agree with it, you're the enemy, pure and simple. Well, let's continue. We're about halfway through.
The movies too, though I don't deal with that side of it. Just making sure that the writers' room has a real, diversity. Not just, not just gender or sexual orientation, ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who may have certain disabilities that they want to hire.
I got a disability. No, I don't. I don't. No, I'm kidding. No, that was stupid. But no. I don't see. I don't see the purpose in this. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm glad O'Keefe Media is really shining a light on this.
So there's kind of there's a really broad look whenever they're doing information.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they talk a big game about what they actually do. So they even passed over a qualified half black person for promotion.
We had a situation where
So if you're of that ethnicity but you don't look a certain way to them, they won't hire you. And I've had friends growing up, they were light skinned, but their parents were dark skinned. It's just a roll of the dice genetically. There was my my 7th grade English teacher, her sons were like that, and they were some of my best friends. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's wrong." Right.
So they're not only prejudiced, they're not only criminals, but they're absolute fucking racist. That's all Disney is. The mouse is fucking racist.
They wanted the full.
They wanted somebody in meeting to appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting.
And so this is like on the
This was on the
corporate side, like the business side.
Yeah, that I knew lots. Like I have a lot of black friends who are not as dark as because do they care about that or is
Right.
the
Funny that.
ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do.
Seems like to a large extent they do. That is utterly ridiculous. That is just vile.
You're mixed, but you don't black at all. It sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell somebody's part black, but they're not that black, then that was crazy.
But apparently Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would like Meghan Markle to be white?
Right? Yeah.
Would she consider
She would still be. Yeah.
diverse, or,
Yeah.
or
Huh? As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male."
So even though he's going to talk about this in a little bit in a moment, even though this guy experiences the discrimination, he's willing to overlook it for a paycheck. He's willing to sell out his own self-respect for the honor, and I'm using he can't if I was on camera, you'd see me using air quotes, for the honor of working at Disney.
You know, I'm like a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And that's like to oversee a whole, whether that's at Disney or having to leave.
Okay. Do you think that you'll have opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
If he has to answer like that, the answer is 100% no. Wicked Wookie, what's up? Thanks, dude, for being here. Thanks for being here. Just talking about Disney's dumbass selves. So yeah, if he has to answer with "I don't know," the answer is already no.
I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking to promote.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot. There's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Oh, I mean, I've been for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and yeah, we're talking about.
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their?
In one or two cases, you know, I was told very explicitly that against. Yeah.
This man does not need to be at a dinner. He needs to be at an attorney's office. Holy shit. It has been a slow end to Disney the past 5-6 years. Wicked. Yeah, they are really just nailing their own coffins and digging their own graves. This is utterly ridiculous. But you know what? It's not very surprising. This probably happens in every major company in the world, probably. I would not be surprised if it doesn't happen anywhere else. And this is the entertainment company Disney owns. Disney owns literally probably nearly every channel on your TV. And like I said yesterday, there's no way you can boycott Disney if people tried. Yeah, and like I was just saying before you came in, he's so comfortable with it. Because I don't know, he's such a sellout. He's such a sellout because he's so comfortable with it because like I said, he gets the honor, and again, I'm using air quotes, he gets the honor of working at Disney. But he's selling his soul out. He's selling his soul to the false god that is DEI.
Specifically, what did they tell you? I mean, I've been at the company for 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in the divisions. And look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not.
Yeah, Wicked, hold on. Let me try to find something. I'm glad you brought that up. Just a second. There it is. That's what I want. Okay, let's see. I'm going to hold on. Let's see. I love this little diagram. This is all every single Disney property. I found this. Let's go. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we got Marvel. You got all of Marvel. That's every Marvel company, Marvel Studios, and then here is on the other ear you have the Fox Entertainment. Oh hell yeah! You got Fox Network. You got 20th Century Fox, owned by Disney. Uh, all these are all in different countries. Let's go down to, we got Walt Disney Records, uh, Disney Theatrical, Disney Television Group, all these networks, A&E, Crime Investigation, History, Lifetime, A&E. Yeah, A&E. You got the Disney Channel here. Here's one thing. You got the sports networks, ESPN, all the ESPN networks, and books and magazines, radio. Let's see. Let's go over some. Let's go over to the gold section. These are Disney Direct to Consumer International. You have all these companies. Some of these I've never heard of. You have Disney Realty Inc. You got real estates all up here on the side. And of course you have the parks. Can't talk about Disney without the parks. You got ABC. You got the different studios, ABC Family. Let's see what's on the other side. So there's no way you can, and this is probably outdated too. This is a couple of years old. It's probably outdated. So there's no way that you can get away from Disney in any way, shape, or form. It has grown that big. The mouse has gotten so bloated over the past few decades. And it lets them do what they're doing, what this guy is talking about. It lets them get away with it because they know they have you by the balls. They know we're one of the few choices you have. So let's continue what this guy has to say. Newsflash, mouse, that is illegal. That is exactly why the Civil Rights Act was written. So no employer could discriminate based on skin color. Black, white, red, yellow, pink, purple, blue, any color. But they do not care because the government and these studios are so, I believe, so entwined now. If you really look down deep, you could not tell the difference. These studios are the propaganda arms of the government.
And so it's totally fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about they're very careful about messaging because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white person.
Just kind of unspoken.
Yeah, it's not really unspoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white person.
So he goes on to say they say it a certain way, but when asked about how they would say it, he just flat out says the silent part out loud. Are you kidding me? My forehead is in my hand. This is just it's so mind-boggling.
Like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
Right.
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, I kind of feel like we're, you know, at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of, you know,
And that
I think I'd say within the next 5 years, Disney will have and studios in general will probably have a slew of lawsuits. And you know what? Sadly, with it being in California, with the company being in California, it'll be hard for any of these suits to go through. We have seen trademark cases, copyright cases, stolen idea cases for years brought before courts in California, and they will get thrown out. The one that comes to mind, it's a case against Paramount, and with Star Trek Discovery there was a case brought up with Star Trek Discovery that it was a stolen idea for an Egyptian video game called Tardigrade. It was so ripped off the characters even looked like it. Basically, in the video game, you rode space tardigrades through this network of energy through space, and that's exactly what Star Trek Discovery was for the first season or two. No one cared. The courts threw it out.
is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims.
Yeah, I'm glad employees are fighting it back against the discrimination. It's an uphill climb. I'd love to talk to good logic or potentially criminal about these ideas that if any of these cases have merit. I'd love to talk to Joe about it and see what he has to think. Joe fascinates me. His whole view on his faith. I love learning about different faiths, and he's a well of information. If you ever get a chance to speak to him, you'll learn so much about any topic that comes up.
Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation. We will try to get you representation to get your.
So yeah, we have ways of fighting back, and I think when people see that there's a way to stop this or to at least change it, I think people will start really coming out of the woodworks, as James said. It the fear will go away, I believe.
Unplug.com/OMG. I mean, HR keeps in a huge spreadsheet.
What kind of spreadsheet?
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it exactly, but we literally they have stats. 17% of our executives at this level identify as XYZ. 40% of our executives at this level,
So they have basically, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? They have documents stating all this. If someone could get their hands on that, that would just be like a smoking gun. This idea, this takes me back to like McCarthyism back in the 30s and 40s and 50s when people were being blacklisted. This is just a liberal version of McCarthyism almost.
They have goals that they're trying to. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage
Right.
of diversity there.
But are these like these are open goals because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms? So are they open goals?
They are open goals that senior and
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue, and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to well,
Pretty much. It's more like guidelines based on not job performance, but the ethnicity, sexuality, those kind of things. Not so much like he. This guy even said earlier he had been looked over for roles or for promotion just because he's a white man.
they might say something like but not like a legally actionable thing, right? Like it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. All right, guys, do you know what the code words are? You work in HR?
James, come on.
No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
They, the writers and actors, you hear all the time, like, looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are, like, so there's definitely that.
That's pretty much the whole entertainment industry. I've seen that a little bit in my experience. Yeah, basically.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere?
No, they can't, because what good would that do for Disney and their agenda?
But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders?
See, this is what he's getting now into the financial part of it, and this is what I was talking about earlier, and how Disney has, I don't think they've had a hit maybe since the original Frozen, and that came out in 2013. So over 11 years ago. I would argue that is probably the last big hit, the last one that really seeped into the collective consciousness of the culture, like with the song "Let It Go." That was everywhere for that year. I remember going to a friend's house on Halloween that year, and I saw so many Elsas. We had a drinking game that you take a shot every time you saw an Elsa come up and get candy, and it was, oh, I felt like I was gonna die of alcohol poisoning.
5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%. Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over talent.
My ADD just kicked in with that weak ass beard of his. What is that? It's like his sideburns go down like halfway down his cheek, stop, and little lines, and then like he's growing a goatee or whatever you call a Van Dyke or something. I don't know what they're called, but sorry, ADD moment.
Executives who truly know how to build value. So where we shall see. This is just part one. We got another tape coming out next week. This is a multiple part series. I spoke with Michael Giordano. You'll see that soon. We are.
You have nothing to say?
Do you work for Disney? I'm not kidding. Is this you right here?
Run, boy, run! You never see people run faster than when James O'Keefe shows up.
And hopefully we get a comment from the CEO, Bob Iger, reporting from Burbank, California, outside Walt Disney Company. This is James O'Keefe with OMG.
So that's pretty much it. You know, the cat's out of the bag, and he's got a mouse in it by the tail. It's really you see, you know something's happening, but you don't. You wish and pray that you're wrong. You know, it's sad that a company that has shaped our they've spent a century. The Disney has spent a century creating beautiful works of art just for in the last 10 years for it just to come crashing down. It's sad seeing a company that built so many people's childhood just fall like this. And it makes you ask a certain question that I think a certain Smokey can answer.
What the hell is the world coming to?
Yes, Buford, that's the question. That's the big question. What the hell is this world coming to? That's what in 5-10 years, if this isn't stopped, what's going to happen? How are things going to be? How is our society going to look after it is molded by these companies who are willing to put identity politics above making money or above people who can make the best product. So I don't understand it. I think it's all
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
it's all bullshit. Yep, little dude, it's all bullshit. So I'm gonna be when part 2 drops. We're gonna be talking about this some more. Look for my review of episode 1 of House of Dragon coming out this weekend. I will be doing my review of Acolyte episode 2. So until then, thank you all for being here. Love you all. Give me leave a likes, give me a sub, and share for more nerdy videos. And remember, like I always say, find your passion and nerd out about it. I'm the nerd of the Outpost. I'm gone.
Lost in space, I found my place. In this outpost of silence, to my way. Binary code run through my veins. Every beat and beep, I feel no pain. Signing off, it's time to go. Goodbye, my nerdy friends, see you later. I know through the stars we've shared this ride, but now it's time to say goodbye.